see what happens here.
Guess what? I got a fever.
On KOPN, Columbia.
Alright, so let's see what happens. Try this. Alright, so this is underneath us. I'm turning, what, your ring, what color is your base mic? Is, we got you, and we got me, and we're raising the volume. Okay, and we're playing underneath us. We are playing, what track is this, Roz?
Track 3.
We're playing, what's it called?
Rattle the Cage.
We are playing Rattle the Cage. What's the name of your album? Anyway, what if you had a name? What would you name?
The actual name of the album was War Horses of the Dawn.
War Horses of the Dawn. So we're listening to, what was the track?
Rattle the Cage.
Of War Horses of the Dawn. Roz Wickham's album. What's that called when the album, they make an album and it's like the story, I forgot the name of it.
Concept album.
Is it a concept album?
Musically it is, lyrically no.
Okay. Yes and no. So, and also, we have, just introduce yourself. Just, sorry.
Weston Warren.
You know what? You're on yellow, sorry. See that again, please?
Weston Warren.
We have Mr. Weston Warren,
Right.
who was a hockey player that is a physicist. So he's got the build and the height of a hockey player that can do some damage with the brain of I said Sheldon.
Sheldon, yeah. Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory. So I see we have callers, but we're going to hold off. We will be taking calls if they want to. If the Edge of Beyond wants to, we're thinking about it. We might take some calls later, so you can ask these guys some questions on the air. So we want to welcome this. You're listening to 89.5 FM, KOPN Columbia. This show is called 7, and we have with us in the studio, we have the Edge of Beyond. We have Weston and Roz. I'm gonna just, how you guys doing today?
We're good.
Thanks for coming up. Where are you guys based out of?
Jefferson City.
So thanks for the driving all the way up here. And
thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's a good day and good night tonight. And let me see, where to start? I mean, you just came out with a new novel, new book, okay, Roz, how many tracks on this album?
There are 9.
9? He composed 9 pieces of music for this concept album, Yes and No. And also they just came out with their second book. This book I'm looking at, there's a bunch of notes, I guess. Just for notes, but 500 pages, over 500 pages for this book, The Edge of Beyond, Wings of Destruction, Roz A. Wickham. And I was here, interviewed you guys in the daytime. I think it was the daytime show. Yeah. Interviewed you guys about the first book, right? Or
I think that was back in January.
And what did we talk? What did we talk about? We talked about the science aspect of the Edge of Beyond. That's why we had you on during the day, and I mean, there's so much stuff with you guys. You guys can.
We're busy.
Where do you want to take it? Where do you want to begin? You want me to? Okay, so I'm going to start off with Weston, and how and why did you get involved with Roz and his Edge of Beyond project?
Well, we got introduced by his mother, which was interesting. talking to his mother, she said, you need to meet my son. You have a lot in common from our conversations. I said, sure. So that's when I initially met Raz, and he told me about his Edge of Beyond project. And he had a real thick binder and of his artwork and concept of the storyline, and it was quite impressive. And he discussed some of the science aspects that outline the premise of this world that he created, how it happened, a future Earth setting. And I was pretty impressed that his concepts of science, to me, were quite accurate, and similar thoughts that I had of developments that could happen to the Earth. And I was impressed that someone who's not a degreed scientist like I am was able to have that insight and imagination. So we hit it off right away, and ever since then we've worked close, became friends. And then he said, hey, would you like to be the science advisor for these projects of mine? I said, sure, why not? So it's been that way ever since.
We got people calling in right now, but I'm gonna say hold off on calling in right now. I don't know if these guys are ready to take questions yet. We're just gonna.
Well, if you feel like it, we're up for it.
Well, let's see. You sure? Okay,
Yeah.
let's see what
Bring
happens.
it on.
All right, so let's take this guy and see what. Hello, you're on the air. Oops. Did I hang up? So we'll wait till the next call. But someone was calling.
Or we accidentally hung up on
Maybe
them.
I accidentally hung up on them. You can call back, but so these guys are going to accept calls, and we'll put you on the air. And if you want to ask them about the Edge of Beyond, and let's see, I'll try not to hang up on you next time. But okay, so just doing some curls with your book here. It's what? How did you measure? You probably measured. Was it 5 inches? No, 4
It's
inches.
a 6x9.
Wow. So, Weston, what is it like working with Roz and Jackie on projects?
Well, I would say, and this is good, that they're perfectionists, very detail oriented and professional, which is surprising. Working with them would be of the caliber I'd picture of Mr. Disney back in the day when he started Walt Disney, or Lucas, and they strive for excellence and doing your best. Nothing wrong with that, and that's what you need on a project to succeed. When you ask some questions later for Raz, he's been doing this coming up on 20 years. So I enjoy it, and they're very respectful to me, and we get along. We're like a family now. We have very similar goals.
Meaning he's stuck with us.
Yeah. And there's been, Raz can tell you, probably one of the questions you ask him over the years, what he's faced on this project. There's been a lot of forces and obstacles to slow it up or stop it that he's overcome. Jackie and myself, team members have come and gone, but we're the core group, and we're very committed to see this project through because it's just so fantastic. It's too good to drop this. We have to see this through. As you got the second book, the third book will be out in October. This is really here to stay, and it's really going to impact so many people's lives when they read it. It's every bit a competitor of Star Wars.
Let me give that phone number out. I've got to practice taking more calls on these shows. 573, what's that phone number? Shoot. Hold on, let me give it out. That's 573-443-8255. Let me give that phone number out again to call. 573-443-8255. 573-443-8255. And I'll try not to cut you off while I'm getting you on the air. if you want to ask these guys some questions. So perfectionist. I hear perfectionist. I don't know anything about Walt Disney or what he did. I mean, I know what he did. I mean, I wrote on some of the rides. So, yeah, I guess, but that's about it as far as I know. What I didn't know. I don't know anything about Walt Disney. He created a theme park, I guess. I don't know anything, or I don't know how much of a perfectionist he was, or anything like that.
Well, his animation in the Disney series, starting, what was the
Snow White.
that was it, yeah.
As far as an actual feature film.
So I don't want to start talking about Walt Disney, but I mean, I guess, did he create all those stories, or he just took old fables and put them together and then presented them in animated style? I don't know.
He just basically directed and produced everything under what Disney as a company was trying to accomplish back then.
Okay. I mean, I know I was walking at a comic book convention a year ago, and I saw this booth, and it was had a vibe to it, and a lot of colors, and it was sparkly, attracted the attention visually, and then there was just so many things, the eyes to take in and the ears to hear, and even the book covers of your books. The first one is called what?
Rise of the Fallen.
And then this one, Wings of Destruction. Just the art of the books, so many colors, and so it should be three-dimensional. I'm sure when it comes out, when you guys
Someday.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. It's hard to explain. It's three-dimensional on a two-dimensional plane, and there's just so much detail inside that you look at the cover. Can you explain what the covers? What's on the covers? Well, you've got a caller. Let's see if we can get this. See what happens. You want to do that?
Sure.
See what happens right here.
Without hanging up on him.
Well, I'll try. Well, he just hung up, so or she just hung up, so it could be someone having fun, which is fine. So good. You want to describe the covers of the first book and the second book?
Yeah, here, I'll give you a bigger example to look at while we're talking about that.
Oh, okay.
For our book covers, instead of having just either a singular character or a singular concept, I wanted to kind of capture that old school movie poster feel that artists like Drew Struzan had accomplished with films such as Back to the Future and the Star Wars prequels, so on and so forth. That way, when you pick up this book, no matter if you're at a bookstore or at one of our interactive events, you're immediately pulled into what you see, and it entices you to dive into the story. Instead of, many times, Weston and I pointed this out at conventions, that you have sometimes less than 30 seconds to make an impression with people, even at a bookstore, with the imagery based on your exterior. So we tried to make sure that we put everything that we can into it as far as colorization, characterization, so that it pulls that audience member in immediately, so that there's no question that they're already fascinated before they even read the story.
Hello?
Oh, hey.
You're on the air.
It wasn't me a minute ago. Don't put the blame on me for that.
You're on the air live on the radio with.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'm not talking over nobody, right?
No, sir. Welcome to Seven and the Edge of Beyond. We're interviewing. Do you have any? Would you like to ask them?
Yes. There was a period of time a while ago when you were interviewing your buddy here, and I'm sorry, I'm bad on names.
I think it's Weston. You mean the scientist?
And I began to gain some perspective, but I need you to help me, you guys, to help me clarify. What is the total thrust or the motivation or the destination of and what you're discussing? Is it of purely visual in nature, or does it have some form of social interaction impact. I mean, beyond, okay? It's like, dude, you guys got my interest here
Well, we're glad to hear
to
that.
investigate into the website and various things, but I still don't think I'm getting a sense of it, so please help me out here.
The Edge of Beyond, essentially, back in '97, was created to be a multimedia franchise that could compete with other franchises such as Star Wars. And I originally developed the first trilogy in screenplay form back in 2013, but realized that there was no real way to do anything with it unless I had sold those screenplays to Hollywood.
Well, what was, if I may interrupt you
Go ahead.
rudely, what was your motivation in order to, what caused you to put this thing in motion? Is there an overlying social redeeming value that pertains to the interaction of persons that are similarly inclined, or?
Yes, it's definitely one of those projects that was not only made for what I wanted to pursue artistically, but something that those that are kind of on, whether you want to consider it the correct intellectual plane or spiritual plane, something that like-minded people could connect with, and something that was very thought-provoking but also gave them a sense of hope in the dark and dreary world that we live in.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. That's what I thought, and I'm encouraged by hearing you say that.
Can I add something?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. When Seven asked, one of the reasons for me getting involved is the storyline of this science fiction novel, and there's more than just these 3 books that are out that he has planned. It's a future Earth, but it deals with social issues, spiritual conscious issues that we're facing today as a global society, that it hasn't changed. So if you look at the geopolitical situation, and I won't get into too depth on this answer, but if you look at the Earth,
But would you, okay, the repetition of history, the rather disgraceful behavior of humanoids as they have, occupied. How are we going to make a change of, or is everything simply going to maintain of, and here, we're faced always, like we always are, man against man, man against himself, man against others. I mean, I'm getting the idea that you guys are trying to throw out a little social consciousness, but of course, you can offer 5 Big Macs and 2 double quarter pounders with cheese, but nobody wants to eat them.
That's true.
It's like, yeah, drugs obviously aren't the answer. What in religion, John Lennon, religion to, okay, all what I'm saying. I'm picturing what are, as you used the phrase earlier, similarly minded people to do.
You're asking what are we expecting them to do?
Are we trying to engineer some kind of intervention, or are we simply trying to make a better observation of that which was inevitable already?
I'd say in a way it acts as a call to arms to try to enlighten those to awake themselves to the problems that are going on with our world, both in the physical plane and even spiritually. But it's also something that's meant to just kind of cover generalizations, whether it's politics, religion in general. But there's a lot of negative forces that are fought in the story, but the way that the story is written, it's meant to shine light on how the positivity can overcome if people are awake enough to work together.
It's a literary work which is designed to motivate people toward, yes.
Which is also why one of the mission statements for Raw Productions is, entertainment asks us to take a seat, we're asking fans to take a stand. Point being, most of what you see with, any franchise it's only expecting you to be entertained. You know, we don't want to be preachy with our work, but we want something that you're not only entertained by it, but you're entertained and you're motivated, you know, to do something.
You're entertaining people with stuff that is definitely not motivated toward bad. If they take the good, they take it and they run with it. If they don't, they don't. And basically, Bud, yeah, what else can we do at this point, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay, man, I'm giving you a shout out. I'm in favor of that.
Well, we appreciate it. We're glad we've got someone's interest.
Of being a 63-year-old guy like I am, and having gone through the full gamut of, well, yeah, back, let's protest Vietnam, let's do this, I don't know. It's, everything has progressed so much further now, and it just, I become disillusioned because people just automatically classify me sometimes as, let's treat him nice because he's just saying stuff that really don't make no sense while I'm trying to. And so far as, yeah, the outcome of the big picture, do we really have any control of? No, possibly not. But I don't want to go down the tubes without at least having stood up and said, and it's all about the interaction between people.
Yes, that is definitely something that we champion. It's showcasing the story, and it's part of why when we do our interactive events, it's not just me, the author, that you get to meet and have everything signed by. You get to meet the entire team, because that's what we're all about, is the interaction, so that we can, you know, take a step back from technology and, you know, bring back the handshake.
Yeah, the true meaning of the handshake was originally, well, of course, it should be obvious, but many people don't understand. It's like the handshake means I am holding no weapon with which to do harm to you by.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so we want to thank our caller. Thank you for calling in. And we will...
By the way, if you're more interested in...
oh, yeah, how does the caller get a hold of... Find out more. How does this caller find out more about?
They can go to our official website, which is theedgeofbeyond.com, or they can find us on social media such as Facebook and Twitter, and also the books are currently available on sites such as Amazon, and I think there's a few reviews on there. You can get a little bit of insight of what other readers have felt about.
You have bookmarked your site as a result of the last time you were on the air, and I've been trying to do the best I can to make others aware of it.
Oh, well, we appreciate the support.
On a totally unrelated subject, Devin, that Robert Trower kicked ass, dude.
Hey, man, I
care if I didn't get the tickets because my drunk ass ain't equipped to drive the my brothers, my friends,
Thank you.
KOPN, heartfelt associates. Keep it on. That's Crazy David and Cat Wizard. We gone.
All right, man. Bye-bye. Take care. All right, so that was cool. And Roz, how difficult has it been for the past 19 years as the founder of Raw Productions?
Well, obviously, it's been a high level of difficulty because, you know, when it's just one person starting off with any vision, no matter how big or small, it's very difficult to find like-minded people that are willing to work with you to bring that vision out into a tangible form. And while it has its ups and downs, you know, more downs over the past 19 plus years, but everything's slowly building up to a more positive note. But that's kind of the whole point of any hero's journey. I'm not saying I'm a hero or anything, but when it comes to even what the main characters go through in this story, it's kind of a reflection of what I've had to go through with building Raw Productions as a multimedia entity, you know, trying to channel my own artistic prowess while going through the heavy storm. And right now I'm at a point where, you know, I can take the storm head on, and I will continue to do so no matter how many times I fall down.
I think we have another caller. You want to
Yes,
take
go ahead.
the call? Hello? Hello, you're on the air? No, they just hung up. you got us again.
Keep calling.
Keep calling. It's okay.
I would like to add
Yeah,
something
yeah.
about his 19? Well, what we've noticed is that Hollywood, for example, has a chokehold on entrepreneurship and new ideas. So they're rehashing, and I jokingly say, Terminator 16, right? Transformer 12, Iron Man 19, Spider-Man. How many times can they?
I'm cringing.
How many times can they just whip these franchises to death with nothing new and creative? So he comes along with this edge of beyond, and because it's deep, dealing with social issues, environmental issues, and where mankind could be heading as a species, there's obstacles. They don't want that. The powers to be and the cookie cutter corporate structure, this is a threat. Storylines like this, and I know we're not alone. It's people listening right now, or if this is recorded later, if they could be musicians or poets or authors, have the same obstacles and obstructions. It's amazing. So I just want to add that he's experienced over 19 years, and we are as a group.
So what kind of ceiling would it be called? Not a glass ceiling, iron dome, or just it's like
Being in a cage, and you got gatekeepers that don't want to open that door.
I don't know if this is true, but I've heard like some musicians that have been around for decades, for 100 years, they're still putting out music, and supposedly some of the musicians that have been on top for decades and decades and decades, they have people that look for music for them, and then maybe written by somebody else, but they get it funneled to them, the music, and they put it out. They get to play it, not the people who created the music.
Sure.
And that they just stay in power. These, I don't know.
That's actually a profession now. If you look at companies such as BMI and ASCAP, they're, I don't know if you want to just call them musicians or just talented writers, but there are people in those fields. That's how they make their living, just writing songs for other artists to be sung or performed. Because maybe they can't perform it themselves, but they can write these songs, sell it to these companies then in turn, hire these studio-made pop artists and just have them do everything.
I like to say it's a big world. I mean, I've heard so many times it's a small world, but it's really a big world. And there's a lot of people that know. I mean, in this area, excuse me, in mid-Missouri, it's like people are born with an instrument in their hands, being at the radio station here, and there's just so many talented people playing instruments I've never even seen played before live, and they're never going to get a chance to.
No, the social and economic structure will crush them like a grape. It's not allowed. I'll give you an example. In my as a research scientist, the horror stories I can tell you, the way our global system is set up, they do not want solutions. As you know, I'm a co-inventor of a technology that kills viruses.
Yeah, you talk about
pathogens.
that too.
And I was a little naive as a scientist, thinking, if we can crack this and solve this problem, which we were able to do, the two of us, to create a device to purify the air and surfaces, killing viruses and bacteria that are harmful to humans, plants, and animals, but safe to us. And we did that, got it patented. It's 11.5-year process, millions of dollars. And then you go to hospitals, institutions that goes nowhere. Hospital after hospital, health agency, nowhere. And you're like, what is going on? Here's a solution. It's inexpensive, it's safe, and no one wants to install it. And I begin to realize, because you're stepping on too many toes. See, why would the pharmaceutical companies, one of the big $3 trillion industries, you invent a technology that steps on our toes, squish you like a grape. One of the fastest ways to be floating down a river face down is come up with a cure, which they already have, many cures for the various cancer viruses. You can't do that because now it's such a big industry they don't want a solution because there's too many people involved in cancer research and construction companies building wings of hospitals to treat cancer. If you come up with a cancer, look at all the jobs that you'll displace and all the pink ribbon fundraising campaigns. So this is the real world that we live in. I no longer write white papers anymore. I no longer seek patents. Some of the advanced technologies that I'm involved in now, discoveries that we found with water and the attributes of restructuring from a physics standpoint, I'm not going down that road anymore. You can't. Until society, if it ever happens, until we wake up and we're at a different vibrational level, guys like me and Raz and Jackie will get crushed all day long. So what we have to do is find alternative methods to get the word out. Radio stations like this, Kickstarter programs, word of mouth, that's the only chance that we have.
Or even based on an artistic ability, we're able to use this entire franchise, or storyline to convey messages that normally we would be shut up for even speaking in public about.
Well, let's. You want to hear one of your songs?
Sure.
You mind if we play one of your tracks? Let's let the listeners listen to. Now, this music, you pick the song, and then.
We'll go with track 4, Legends of the Fall.
Okay. Now, did you play every instrument and sing, or?
I do everything on this track except there's a couple of lead parts where the lead guitarist I had at the time had filled in and helped record that.
Okay.
And also they helped with the backup vocals.
Track 4, Legends of the Fall?
Yes.
Okay, we'll be back.